The Atlanta Braves lose a series opener to the Angels 4-0, making it 3 shutouts in the past 5 games. Let's talk about it.
This is the Braves Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Atlanta Braves. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into the Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, where we cover your Atlanta sports teams each and every day. I'm your host, Lindsay Crosby, author of the Braves Today newsletter over at BravesToday.com. You can follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. That is Jake Mastroianni, host of Locked On Braves. Catch him on social media at Shortstop Ball. Make sure you are subscribed to Locked On Braves wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about this week, Jake. But I want to get to Atlanta's 4-0 loss to the Los Angeles Angels. And I've jokingly asked you half a dozen times now if the Braves have hit rock bottom. And it really feels like when you strike out 11 times in a game started by Tyler Anderson and then backed up by the Angels bullpen, this may, in fact, be your rock bottom.
Yeah, I don't know. We keep saying it, and they keep finding a new one. I mean, look, in the end, you lost 4-0, so it's not as painful as some of the other losses. But certainly, this offense just continues to be putrid, I guess is a new word. I haven't used that one yet for this offense this year. So it's just a really, really rough watch for this offense right now. And I keep hoping, again, I said it on the podcast today, I don't want to just throw in the towel on this team. Why would I want to give up on my favorite team before the All-Star break? But this offense, it's just not giving you much reason to be hopeful.
Yeah, it's been the most frustrating thing to me. It's not Ronald going 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. Although I do want to point out, since his home run against the Mets last Monday, he has 1 hit and he struck out double-digit times. He's in a slump right now. There's no way to kind of argue past that. But the 5th inning was kind of like a microcosm of the entire season because you get a leadoff triple from Michael Harris. He back in the lineup after 2 days off. And let's be honest. That should have been an out from Jorge Soler. Like, that was a great scoring decision to give Michael Harris a triple, when in reality, that's probably that's an error. It's a 3-base error, but Soler never touched the ball. But after that, Nick Allen pops out, 3-pitch at bat. He swings at a fastball in off the plate, pops out to first. Ronald strikes out swinging on 3 straight pitches. All of them are either in or touching the zone. They intentionally walk Matt Olson, which shows you they attacked Ronald and then walked Matt Olson. Crazy world. And then Marcell Ozuna hits a fly ball out to left field on a middle changeup. Pitches to hit the top of your order up, and you can't do anything with it. You can't bring in a runner from third with no outs. That was the ball game right there, it felt like to me.
Yeah, it was a big momentum swing in that game. I mean, you get the leadoff triple. Yeah, Soler, probably normal right fielder probably makes that. We've seen the Soler stuff out there. But I mean, to Michael Harris's credit too. I mean, that ball was 109 off the bat, a 15-degree launch angle. I mean, it was absolutely smoked. But yeah, it should have been caught. But you get the leadoff triple, and the way Grant Holmes was throwing, you felt like you get a run here. You feel pretty good about your chances, and you get nothing. You got Acuna and you got Olson coming up. I know Acuna's been slumping here lately. It's really been the high fastballs too. And just a quick note on Acuna, like you said, he has been slumping for about a week now, and it's really the high fastballs. And it's not just a velocity thing, because you saw in this game, he missed 91 up to Tyler Anderson, and then he missed 98 up later. And so that to me kind of screams it's just a timing thing with Acuna, which is what we kind of saw at the beginning of last year. We kind of blamed it on the fact that he missed so much time in spring training, but he just never got that timing right last year. And I feel like that's where he kind of is right now, seeing him miss these fastballs. So he'll figure it out. He's the least of my worries. And I know you feel the same way, but it's just, again, maybe he's also just caught the disease of this offense in big situations too, because it's you get that runner on third with nobody else, and it's just comical at this point. Like you watch my timeline on X as soon as that happened, and and everybody's saying they're not going to score here. Somehow they're going to find a way not to score here, and they don't score. And it's just like, I don't know what it is at this point. Again, I think it's a mind. I think it's a mental thing for them right now. They just know we got that runner at third. We got to find a way to get him in. We got to put the ball in play. And it's just become a mental thing for them right now. But just some bad at bats. And yeah, they, obviously they did pitch to Matt Olson until he got 3-0, and then they intentionally walked him. But it was, they were pitching around him to face Ozuna. And so, and Ozuna, maybe there's an injury there too. Again, they probably should have put him on the IL 6 weeks ago. Maybe now is going to be your time to do that. And you can get both Baldwin and Murphy in there. Something, I don't know. I don't know, but it is frustrating. But you're right. That was a big momentum swing in that game because I felt like the Braves were at least going to get one run, maybe do a little bit more damage with the top of the order coming up. Instead, they get nothing. And then there really wasn't much of a threat after that.
Yeah. I think it was Sunday where Atlanta was like 0 for 1 with runners in scoring position. Like they just didn't get the opportunity to drive these guys in. They had the chances today. Again, they were 0 for 7. They had 3 of them there in that inning and couldn't do it. I went through and looked and was taking notes about all the different guys who left runners in scoring position to end an inning. Marcell Ozuna did it, obviously right there with that. Drake Baldwin had 2 runners stranded in scoring position with 2 outs. Alex Verdugo did it. Sean Murphy did it. Like Matt Olson did get an opportunity. Austin Riley went 3 for 4. He started his hot July by doing a Monstars thing and just pulling everything from everybody else on this team. For those of you who aren't familiar with this, in his career, Austin Riley, not counting tonight, is batting .292 with a .955 OPS. It is by far the best month in his career, consistently in his entire career. June's always been one of his worst months, June and September, which is frustrating too. But just couldn't get anything done. Another game where you have more strikeouts than hits. And again, you had 1 double from Riley. You had 1 triple. Everything else was singles. They never got the big home run. They never got the big fly. And because of that, they couldn't bring guys in. And at this point, I don't know what else you do. No. I mean, you get Profar back tomorrow.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I talked about it. Obviously, I did the podcast on some radical changes. But even then, it's just like, I saw somebody posted a comment on there. You're moving chairs on the deck of the Titanic. Like it's all you're really doing. Like it's going down, but it's just, will it look a little bit different? And, that was kind of my point in all this is just try something, do something different. Like you just keep trying the same things with the same people and nothing's changing. Like at this point, just try something different is all I'm asking for from a fan perspective. Again, I don't know that it'll make much of a difference, but I don't know what else you do. Like you said, we're kind of all just out of answers here. The one thing I'll say about the approach change, good article over on Battery Power about this today from Austin. He does a great job with breaking all that down. But he looked at some of the swing changes, and we've talked about this too. The idea that you've seen a more laid back approach. You've seen them, take more pitches. And I wanted that. I wanted a hitting coach that would come in and do that, but not at the expense of zapping all of the power from this team. The power is gone now, and they're taking more pitches, but they're taking good pitches. And that is not the right philosophy at all. Yeah, be more patient, and you're seeing them. They're getting more walks, but they're taking a lot of really good pitches to swing. So it's like they're just stuck in this between of trying to be something that they're not and trying to make this approach change. And at the same time, that's zapping away their power, where at this point, just scrap all that and go back to the boomer bust mentality. At least then we got to see a few home runs, and now you're getting neither. You're not getting the batting average and you're not getting the home runs. You're getting a few walks in there. Cool. But you're not getting the slug, which is what this lineup was built to do.
Exactly. All right. In just a second, I want to talk about the pitching. Grant Holmes was phenomenal tonight. We saw the first real stumble of Dylan Lee all year. We'll talk about that next, right here on the Braves Postcast. You ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Because Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, your investments, your spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for 50% off your first year. Today's episode's also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action for some reason. FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. Because if you're already following the action, why not make it a little more thrilling? If you have lost faith in the team, you can go into FanDuel and take advantage of that. You can get in on the game instead of just watching sad from the stands or your couch. So if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, Jake. Grant Holmes, again, looks very good in this one. We get 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 3 walks to 10 strikeouts. And I saved a stat that I saw specifically for this postcast. I didn't retweet it. I didn't do all of that. This comes from Atlanta radio legend Brady Penn of 680 The Fan. In Grant Holmes' last 2 starts at home, 12 1/3 innings, 2 runs, 25 strikeouts, and Atlanta has lost by a combined score of 14-1. It's not the pitching's fault. It's not Grant Holmes' fault, obviously. It's not going to be Dylan Lee's fault. He gives up multiple runs. It's still not his fault. It's the offense's fault. But Grant Holmes is doing his job.
Yeah, Grant Holmes has been impressive. Look, one of the bright spots of this season, along with, Drake Baldwin and some others. But Grant Holmes has been really good. And I think the only thing I worry about him staying with Ronaldo last year is how many innings can you get out of him? How many innings is he going to throw? But he's been great. Look, they moved him up for this start. And, for whatever reasons, maybe we'll see what happens the rest of this series. But you put him up. Go ahead.
Sorry. I think they said to keep him on regular rest. Like he's kind of been that routine thing. They wanted to keep him on that regular rest. So that's why they moved him up. But I think it also means they won't have to start Fuentes for the final game before the All-Star break too. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I know Mark Bowman maybe hinted at maybe they won't pitch Fuentes tomorrow, but I think you have to now. But now that you're putting Fuentes and Elder on back-to-back days. So this was the game that you wanted to go get with Grant Holmes pitching, that you had to go get, because the next 2 pitchers in this series, I have little to no confidence in, especially with the Angels lineup that's been swinging a good bat. I mean, they were quieted tonight by Grant Holmes, but you saw them kind of put together some good at-bats, even against Grant Holmes. I mean, they still had some good at-bats, made him throw a lot of pitches. But I got no confidence in the next 2 in the series. Not spoiler alert for what's coming up, but Grant Holmes has done his job. To your point, 27 whiffs. I haven't seen a number higher this year. I'm sure somebody has done it. Maybe not for the Braves, but elsewhere.
Not for the Braves. No, I think that's a Braves record this year. Yeah,
that is a lot of swing and misses, and just kept spamming that slider. It's the curveball too. Just kept spamming it and making them swing at it. The only time that they didn't, I believe, was the 4th inning. I had it pulled. Yeah, the 4th inning where he had a base runner on, and Joe Adell and Jorge Soler, swung at that pitch early in the bat, but then adjusted and kind of laid off it late. But then O'Hoppe goes up there and he just spams it to him, and he does chase it. So it's just really working for him. It takes the right lineup to get that, but just great stuff from Grant Holmes. I mean, he has been, like I said, one of the biggest bright spots of this season. He's done all that he could do. The flocks are just flowing. I'm trying to catch up with him. I need a haircut here myself, but he's been fantastic. Certainly this isn't on Grant Holmes, who was great tonight.
Yeah, and he did get whiffs on everything, which is always one of my big things. Like, obviously, the slider, 25 swings, 16 whiffs. It was the big star there. But the 4-seam fastball, 15 swings, only 3 whiffs, but they fouled 10 balls off. They only got 2 fastballs into play, which just tells me he's doing everything really well right now. 3 on the cutter on 7 swings, 5 on the curveball on 7 swings. I do believe I saw the stat, and I want to say it was maybe from Mark Bowman, that this is the most swing and misses since 2008 for any pitcher outside of Spencer Strider. He had 30-plus whiff games 3 times in 2023. So this is the record for this year and for last year. So there you go. On the innings workload thing for Grant Holmes, real quick, he did throw 109 1/3 innings last year between Atlanta and Gwinnett. He's not in that traditional I threw 60 innings as a reliever, and I'm converting to the rotation, and I've probably got a cap of 130. He should. I'm assuming he's going to be able to get to 150 or maybe even 160 because he did throw
150 is the number that I've been thinking is probably the max for him.
But we do see some the first real struggles from Dylan Lee coming in the game. Obviously, he ends up giving up. Where is it here? I had it just a second ago. He's going to get 3 runs on 2 hits and a walk. Only records 1 out. And the out's the very first batter, right? He gets Nolan Schanuel to pop up on a fastball in. I figured you'd tell me the slider is what he did. But he gets got by Mike Trout. Mike Trout gets him for a double. Actually, a really good piece of hitting from Mike Trout. Slider below the zone with 2 strikes that he goes down and gets. Fun fact, by the way, this was Mike Trout's first ever time playing in Truist Park against the Braves. He's never done it.
I had tickets. I was going several years ago. I think it was before COVID. He was coming. Then I had tickets to go to it and ended up getting canceled. And I came the next time, and Ohtani did come, but Trout was injured. So, we don't get to see him much in Atlanta. But, he got a slider down. And then I thought it was a slider that Adele got too, but it actually says it was a changeup that was kind of middle. You want that changeup down and away to the right.
I also thought that was a slider. That was a changeup.
The slider. Live, but just looking at it now, they registered that as a changeup. But look, I'll say this for Snitker, it was the right decision in my mind. It's a 0-0 game. It's the top of the 8th. You got the middle of the order coming up. You put your best reliever in.
Yeah.
So in my mind, it was the right call. Dylan Lee just had an off night, and look, he's been fantastic. The Braves pitcher of the month in June, but he just had a bad night, an off night, and the margin of error was 0.
Yeah, I mean.
Or anything
after that, still a 2.37 ERA. I mean, he's still not. That's how good he's been this year. He can have one nice blowout there, blow up, and still have an ERA under 2.5. One of the better ERAs in here. And then De Los Santos used Kevin Herget, I think, for the first time since he came back up. Use him. And the big question I have now is, what is the bullpen going to be ready to do the next 2 days? You do have Didier Fuentes tomorrow versus Yusei Kikuchi, the lefty. Kikuchi is, I'd argue, the Angels' best starting pitcher. 2.79 ERA, 99 strikeouts. And then Thursday, Bryce Elder versus Jose Soriano. You need one of those guys to be able to give Atlanta a little bit of length there. Like you said, though, this was the game you really needed to win. Behind Grant Holmes, you knew you had the best of the 3 starters lined up for game 1 against a pitcher that should have been hittable in Tyler Anderson, despite the great induced vertical break on his fastball. It's still 89-90, and obviously they didn't do it. Final thoughts on how this one went, Jake?
It went poorly. It went really bad. They stink. I don't know what else to say. This offense stinks. That's about as PG as I can put it.
Yep, I'm kind of right there with you. But guess what, folks? We will still be back tomorrow. Again, game 2, 7:15, Yusei Kikuchi versus Didier Fuentes. But in the meantime, 4-0 loss by the Braves to the Los Angeles Angels. Do us a favor. If you're listening on audio, leave a 5-star review, Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to both Locked On Braves and Locked On Sports Atlanta. You're going to get all of Jake's fantastic content. Go listen to the episode about the drastic moves you have to make, or about how the farm system hasn't been good enough to contribute. I've written similar articles over at bravestoday.com, so go check those out. And then for Jake Mastroianni, I'm Lindsay Crosby. This has been the Braves Postcast.